Our next weather maker staying off to the south of us, passing south of Michigan Tuesday, Wednesday. And we'll see some rain showers show up into the forecast late tomorrow and for Wednesday. I think the rains are gone mainly by Thanksgiving Day. 25 our low tonight, afternoon showers Tuesday, 41. And showers likely Wednesday, some half-inch rains possible, high 46. Thanksgiving Day cloudy, 52. I'm Scott Laurie, more at the Weather Channel on News Talk 760 WJR.
It's time for Lions Review. Presented by MGM Grand Detroit, the king of sportsbooks. Now here's the voice of the Detroit Lions, Dan Miller.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Lions Review. Lions coming off a loss to the Carolina Panthers by a score of 20-0, getting set for the Houston Texans on Thanksgiving Day. A great Motor City National Football League tradition that will be renewed at Ford Field at 12:30 with the kick against the Texans. Mike, what do you want to talk about? Mike O'Hara. Excuse me. Formal introductions here. Mike O'Hara from DetroitLions.com, longtime Detroit Lions beat writer who's seen it all. He's done it all. Mike, you ever seen anything like that one before? You probably have.
It reminds me of the Thanksgiving Day in 1988, as a matter of fact.
And on that day?
I think it was Wayne Font's second day as head coach of the Lions after taking over for Darryl Rogers, and they got beat by the Minnesota Vikings 17 or 20-0, something like that. And they got their first down on the last play of the third quarter on a deflected pass to Jeff Chadwick. They had 3 first downs for the game.
Just like we drew it up.
Yep, it was really a dreadful team and didn't take Wayne long to turn it around. But that is sort of my Thanksgiving Day low point in my memory.
Try to find some way to explain what happened yesterday. And I don't like quit. I don't like players weren't trying. I don't like any of those things because I don't think they're true. But something came together and made that team play horrible and made that team unable to do anything offensively. Defensively, they were not good. They caught a couple of breaks with 2 of the worst red zone interceptions you'll ever see by a professional quarterback, or it could have been easily 34-0. And it just, Mike, we'll get to all the implications with the head coach and things like that. Is it a one-off, or is it everything has kind of come together to this? This is where this thing has been headed. It's just gotten worse. And this was something near rock bottom. I don't know how to find the perspective.
I don't either. I don't know if I don't believe this preordained or anything like that. Maybe they're not as good as we thought they were going to be, but this is sort of the culmination of the first 11 or 12 games, and this is what it is now. And you can go back to all of the games where they couldn't score for 20 minutes, where they give up 21 points in a row, starting with the Chicago Bears on opening day, a game they have won. It is in the bag.
Yeah.
And still have a chance to win it. And DeAndre Swift, who's a good ball player, drops the ball in the end zone. Way it is. Come back the next week, score a couple of touchdowns. I think it was against the Packers, Dan, and then just get trucked.
Right.
And they've been everything they've done, every game they've won, all 4 of them, except for one, is that the offense gave up the go-ahead points, and the defense gave up the go-ahead points, and the offense had to bail them out on the last play of the game.
Yeah.
It's just sort of kind of the way they play, except this is the way they played the entire game.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make a case right now in any way, shape, or form, especially, and this almost seems silly to say coming off of yesterday's game. It's hard to make a case you're a good team when you can't stop anybody defensively and your offense is as sporadic as this one is. And I think sometimes you can get to the point where you say, okay, you're 4-5. If you win this, you win this. You can delude yourself into thinking that you're going to be back into playoff contention, which you would be if you won the games. But then you have to go back and look at it and say, really, are you good enough to do that? And the answer is clearly no. And, and if you don't see that, then you haven't been watching. And that doesn't mean that you don't hope for better. That doesn't mean that you don't strive for better. But it simply means if you look at the body of work that has been put out by this team this year and for the better part of recent history, they're not very good. They can't play with the better teams in this league.
I don't, outside of the kicker, Matt Prater, what he's on, and he's been on a lot. He's having, in terms of percentages, he's not had a great year this year. In terms of clutch kicks, he's been fine. But where are they elite? Where do they have a guy who takes over the game?
No, they don't.
It's not there. They don't
No.
They don't have Aaron Rodgers to lean on offensively. They don't have Dalvin Cook to lean on offensively. They don't have the pass rusher to lean on. They don't have the stout up defense. They don't have the front four or front seven or whatever you want to call it. They have guys.
Well, I mean, look at what's coming in this week. Okay, you got J.J. Watt. You got Whitney Merciless, who isn't the player he was, but been a good player for a long time. You got Zach Cunningham, who is a tackling machine at linebacker. And you got guys in the secondary that can play. You got players on every level on this team. I don't think anybody would look at the Lions depth chart right now and say that. And that's the problem is it's not all at Matt Patricia's feet, as everybody wants to put it. It's not all on him. Now, if he said, I want this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy, then that, in those cases, it would be on him. I think you can certainly question the adherence to a belief that a 255-pound linebacker is the way to go in today's football when it seems like the better teams are doing it a different way. But Mike, not assigning blame to what you just said. There's not difference makers on this team, in particular on defense. I think the offense is talented. They were missing guys yesterday. I think on the whole, taking yesterday by itself out of the equation, I think this team has underperformed offensively for most of the year.
No, I would not disagree with that at all. And just to use a line, and I probably said this before, so bear with me again, but it's Mike Ditka, the old coach and Hall of Fame tight end coach of the Bears, used to say, you need show dogs to win in the National Football League.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have show dogs. And I think Matthew Stafford he hasn't been this year. I think Kenny Golladay is in that second tier of really good receivers. Marvin Jones probably right about there. And DeAndre Swift coming on. There's your offense.
Well, and I think Taylor Decker has been a good left tackle. And I think Frag now is a really good. I think they're both really good players on that offensive line.
I agree with that. I was just talking about the skilled position.
Yeah, no, I got you. And to your point, I remember this conversation from when I was doing pre and post game for the Bullets back in DC. And John Nash told a story. He was the general manager of the Bullets, about sitting with Jerry West one night. And he was talking to him about what it takes to win championships. And Jerry West looked at him and said, number ones. And John Nash said he looked at the floor and he saw various, first round picks that he had. And he said, I've got these guys. And Jerry West said, it's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about number one overall picks, stars. Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, number one overall picks, difference makers. Now, that's an extreme, but it goes to the kind of talent that it takes to win. You look at Green Bay for the past couple of years, what they've been able to do, or Minnesota, what they've been able to do. Far more difference makers on those teams. Everson Griffin when he was younger. Daniil Hunter, difference maker. Harrison Smith, difference maker.
Anthony Barr.
Anthony Barr, difference maker, when a couple years ago, not what he is now, and a guy that is somewhat limited in skill set. But I think you look at what Green Bay's been able to do. They've got the above all difference maker in Aaron Rodgers. They've got a difference maker at wide receiver. They found a difference maker at running back. They went out very smartly and signed Tooth Smiths to play defensive end for them in one off season, and really shored up that defense, the kind of players that make everybody better. Are they going to be first-team Pro Bowlers, or first-team All-Pro? Probably not the guys you look at for that, but they're really good players who combined for over 25 sacks last year. And you don't see that here. You don't see those kind of difference makers here defensively. And it's hard to win, Mike, if you don't have a good defense in this league that can stop somebody at critical times. And they haven't done that in years.
And when you take a difference maker like J.J. Watt, and not everybody has one, and I'm talking about J.J. Watt when he was, when he lived up to his initials, then it makes the guy next to him better, who makes the guy next to him better, who lifts up that particular part of your unit. And the Lions haven't had that. Now, did they have it in 2014? I think so. They were really close. They had a young Ziggy Ansah. They had Ndamukong Suh. They had DeAndre Levy. They had guys like that. They had ball players.
Yeah.
They really could ball out. They really could.
And Glover Quinn. I mean, they had guys
that Slade just coming in
as a group totaled up to be a really good defense, historically good defense against the run. But it was fleeting, and then it was over after that. But it's just, and as I said last night on TV, this is the last conversation I want to be having. But it is the reality of where we are right now. I mean, nobody likes to be at the point where you're looking at this and saying, here's what you don't have. You'd much rather be looking at it and saying, here's what you do have. But you are what your record says you are. And then you have to look for the reasons why your record says what it says. And that's I think, where we're at right now.
And one of the saving things about the National Football League, though, is that if you have a high enough draft pick, you can hit a couple of players in the first round and the second round. You can, and you can't, but you can. And if you have cap space, you can pick up a couple of players exactly where you need them and plug them in.
That. It's a league. It's a league built on quick turnarounds. There's no question
really
about
is.
that.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Is it automatic? No, it's not automatic, but it can happen. It can happen.
And it's there's nothing preventing it from happening here.
And you can go the other way just as fast too. And look at the Houston Oilers. We're coming to Houston. Yeah, the Houston Texans. Coming to town, but they're starting to play some ball. J.J. Watt had 4 passes batted down.
And they've also got a group that's gotten a little bit older, and they have a group that won multiple division titles. Now, they weren't able to do a lot with that, but I think folks around here would love to have a division title in a home playoff game and all the things that come with that. But as you said, you can also take that successful group, as Bill O'Brien did, and shred it with some bad moves, which they made. So it's not good, and it's and you can see the toll that it's taken on guys on this team. You see the toll that it takes on fans, and they're the ones that everybody's doing this for, is to try to make them proud of the team. And right now, it's just not. It's not where anybody wants it to be. And that yesterday was bad. That was bad. 20-0, and not really being competitive within the game. Never getting inside the 25-yard line in a game. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen that.
No, that's not in this era. Chris Spielman, who did the game for Fox, said, "How do you get shut out in this NFL?" Yeah. This era's NFL. And he also said right on the air, he didn't see any juice, didn't see any energy in that team, and the quarterback looked disinterested. Now, I think Matthew Stafford is just beaten down. That's just my opinion. That's Dr. O'Hara talking.
It would be hard. It would be hard not to be. It would be hard not to be.
It's 12 years now.
Beaten up and beaten down. Yeah, it's 12 years. It's 12 years. And for a lot of those years, he's been dragging this franchise along. He's been asked to shoulder a lot when other parts of the team weren't good enough. They looked to Matthew and said, please get it done. Now, that's not an effective way to build a winner, and that was borne out with the results. But that guy stuck his nose in there and did everything he could. I know he's got his detractors, but I'd go to battle with that guy on the football field.
And you go to that locker room, every single guy is behind that guy because he is the answer for everything they have to do. You go to Matthew Stafford. Somehow, some way, he'll bail you out. Every single thing.
All right, this chat with Michael O'Hara brought to you by Comerica Bank. Experience full-service banking at Comerica Bank. Learn more at ComericaBank.com. When we come back, our chat with Matt Patricia about the game yesterday, looking ahead to the game coming up this week. All that and more on this edition of Lions Review.
Back to more Lions Review. Presented by MGM Grand Detroit, the king of sportsbooks. Here's Dan Miller.
There's the give, Davis touchdown. Good surge by that offensive line over the right side. Little penetration for the Lions, but he sidestepped that. Walked it into the end zone. Davis with the touchdown, and Carolina's on the board first.
Now, I'm not mad with our defense. I'm not, because that's what you need to do, especially when teams are on your 1 or 2 yard line. You got to close down those inside gaps. Like you said, Dan, Mike just did a nice job of just sidestepping the penetration and just getting the 1 yard for the touchdown.
There it was, 7 of the 20 that the Panthers put up, and that was enough to take care of the Lions by a score of 20-0 in that game. Carolina had really been struggling coming in. The Lions really struggling coming out, and a quick turnaround getting ready for Houston coming up on Thursday on Thanksgiving Day. All right, let's get to our interview with head coach Matt Patricia, brought to you by MGM Grand Detroit, the king of sportsbooks. I had a chance to talk with the head coach. First thing, just his thoughts on yesterday after he had 24 hours to look at the tape.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's obviously, where everybody's at. I think we all know we can play better and we can coach better. And really our execution was off. I just think that overall there was some plays out there that we, definitely can execute better. And from that aspect of it, I think as a coaches, we can adjust better too and just go overall play a better game than what we did. So I think that's maybe the frustration with all of it is, we know we can play better than that. We can coach better than that. And we just got to go do it.
Biggest thing that held your offense back in this game in your mind, and in particular on third down, where it seemed like just the ability to keep drives going wasn't there in this game?
Yeah, I think, for us offensively, certainly staying on track on first and second down is really important, and that's especially when you play a very multiple sub package like Carolina runs and the different pressures that they have off of it. If you are off track, they can play off coverage and kind of sit on the sticks routes and really, put you in some bad situations with the pass rush coming after you. So from that aspect of it, it's just, it's all ties together, first and second down into third down, really could have helped ourselves a lot there.
Is that where against Washington, you had the running game going a little bit? There was the balance that opened things up. In this game, they take that running game away, advantage them at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as you get, a team to be a little bit one-dimensional, when you have a lot of blitz packages and a lot of different fronts and looks that you can throw at an offense, that always becomes more difficult.
Matthews sacked 5 times in the second half. You chalk a lot of that up to the scoreboard and them just being able to sell out on the rush at that point.
Well, I mean, certainly late in the game, they knew what we were trying to do. And I think they did a great job of, coming after us in those situations. We got to execute better and go out in the field and try to perform better in those situations. They come up. We just got to go, kind of go out there and expect it and understand what the team is doing against us. But certainly, like you said, we got to get the run game going to kind of have some balance so we're not in those situations.
Defensively, a pretty good job against the run. You look at the 2 touchdown drives they had. There's a couple of big plays on those drives, a couple of chunk plays that really set them up. And that's one of those things where you can look at it and say, did some things really well, but when they get those chunks, it puts them in a position to have an advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that. And we know that that's what they were able to do on offense. The big plays downfield, they have great speed and they were able to, get one on us on the sideline and really flip field position and go with a little bit of tempo and get around the corner on us on another, little bit of a run play there. And that set up their first touchdown. And then after that, the second touchdown, really, we let the quarterback out of the pocket. We know this guy was a mobile guy and keeping him in the pocket is where we wanted, but he had a couple of extended plays and was able to, find that speed downfield and change field position. So we do know those big plays, that just switches everything for us and we got to prevent those.
What's the biggest challenge for a coaching staff and a locker room on a quick turnaround like this?
Well, certainly it's obviously, we got to quickly correct the mistakes that we made and we got to turn the page and get on to, Houston. Certainly a team that, we know, but we don't know. And we got to study and we got to watch a lot of film and they've changed a little bit too. And we got to kind of, recognize that and be ready to go here in a very short amount of time.
2 players I want to hit you with before I let you go. One, Deshaun Watson, just thoughts on him and the difficulty that he brings. You mentioned a moment ago, yesterday, Walker getting out of the pocket. That's what Deshaun does for a living.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he is as elusive as they come and he's as calm as they come in the pocket. I think that's one of the things that's so amazing about him is that there can be pressure all around him, pass rush, blitzes, different front looks, whatever it is, different coverages downfield, and he just stays incredibly calm the entire time in the pocket. He'll buy some time if he has to. He reads the coverage, he finds his open receiver, and he gets the ball out. And if all that's taken away, then he's going to take off and run, and it's going to be an explosive play. So from that aspect of it, he's as tough as they come to try to deal with.
Last thing, J.J. Watt talked to Matthew, and he basically said he's that guy when you walk up to the line of scrimmage, you locate him, and that kind of keys you on what they're trying to do.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously, he's as impactful a defensive player as they come in the league. This guy can do it from all different locations, and he brings it every single week. He's got great energy. He rushes really well. He's disruptive. He turns the ball over. It's everything from an impact defensive player that you got to be ready for.
Fox News, I'm Rich Dennison. A key federal agency tonight determining President-elect Joe Biden is the apparent winner of the election, allowing his administration to begin the transition process and gain access to federal resources.
The agency's administrator, Emily Murphy, in a letter to Biden, says she reached the decision independently and was never directly or indirectly pressured by the White House. Democrats had questioned the delay in beginning the transition.
Fox's Jared Halpern in Washington. Biden is putting together his cabinet as President Trump vows to continue election challenges.
The president-elect intends to nominate Alejandro Mayorkas as Homeland Security Secretary. If confirmed, he would become the nation's first Latino and immigrant to lead the department. Linda Thomas Greenfield has been tapped to be U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, and Biden aide Jake Sullivan is the president-elect's pick for national security advisor.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland in Washington. America is listening to Fox News.
M10 southbound after Pallister accident. It's on the right shoulder. Use caution. The Ambassador Bridge, the Detroit-Windsor Tunnel, and the Blue Water Bridge are closed to non-essential traffic through December 21st. I'm Peggy Hodge, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Our next weather maker staying off to the south of us, passing south of Michigan Tuesday, Wednesday, and we'll see some rain showers show up into the forecast late tomorrow and for Wednesday. I think the rains are gone mainly by Thanksgiving Day. 25 our low tonight, afternoon showers Tuesday, 41, and then showers likely Wednesday, some half-inch rains possible, high 46. Thanksgiving Day, cloudy, 52. I'm Scott Larimore at the Weather Channel on News Talk 760 WJR.
back to more Lions Review. Presented by MGM Grand Detroit, the king of sportsbooks. Here's Dan Miller.
Kerryon Johnson, the lone back behind Stafford, tossed to him. Kerryon throws back to Matthew. Matthew looking to throw downfield. Does got a man out there. It's Marvin Jones. Did he make the catch? Oh, baby, he did. Marvin in traffic. Spectacular touchdown, Detroit Lions. There is a flag down. What do we have?
Illegal formation by the offense. The tight end was covered by an eligible receiver. It's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
You just can't do that.
Man, that's a mental error. That's a pre-snap. That's inexcusable. That's just inexcusable.
He would know. Played the game for a long time. Well, that happened. And we're back on Lions Review. Dan Miller along with Mike O'Hara. Glad you're with us. Going back over their loss yesterday to Carolina. Looking ahead to their game coming up this week against Houston. You had a chance to get a little momentum going there. Maybe try to get back in the game. And as Lomas said, pre-snap penalty. It's the stuff you work on every day, and it comes back to bite you big time right there.
Dan, I get holding penalties sometimes because you're beaten because of ability, you're just a better guy, and you kind of grab his jersey. But you got to know where to stand. It's like you walk out there, you stand there, they snap the ball, you run. What is so hard about it? Now, in their defense, if you look at the linesman, he'll tell you either move up or move back. Now, that's just routine. You see that all the time.
Well, you got to check, though.
But you've got to check, right?
You got to check.
I don't get it.
Yeah, no. That was just, but it's you can't do, as I said during the game, you can't do that. I mean, those are the mistakes you can't make. I mean, pre-snap penalties, 10 guys on the field. Those are the things that people look at and just shake their head. That's the stuff that where it crosses from getting beat to beating yourself. And that's coaches start with not doing that. Because if you do that, you're making it too easy on the other guy.
I mean, remember a couple of years ago, San Francisco game, I think early in the season, the Lions got a big play, gets called back because a guy lined up offside. Remember that? I mean, just things like that, they happen.
Was that the interception?
I think so, yeah.
It was the interception, yeah. That was, I think it was that Walker who picked that off a deflection and came down the right side and got tackled inside the 10-yard line. They would have been in good shape. And, it's, it was one of those days, but unfortunately, there's been too many of those moments this year where things have kind of bubbled up, where they have made plays to hurt themselves, and it's when you have the combination of getting beaten by your opponent and beating yourself, it's very difficult to do anything of substance in this league. And though credit Carolina, I mean, they came out and played a heck of a game. I mean, Matthew Stafford said flat out, and Taylor Decker said flat out. They tried to get them out of the defense they were playing. It was beautifully constructed, but the Lions couldn't do anything to get them out of that defense. And some credit there has to go to Carolina. And I'm not excusing the Lions, but the other guys get paid too. They prepared, they had a game plan, and it worked.
But here was a team, Dan, that had given up 154 points in the previous 5 games. That's 30.8 points per game.
They're on course, Mike, for the worst third down defense in the history of the league, and the Lions were 3 of 14.
You know what? This was really disappointing to me too. This with the receivers out and the running back out, and we're talking about Galladay and Amendola and DeAndre Swift. There was a chance for somebody to step in and maybe get a little sparkle and improve his position on the team, and nobody did.
No,
running backs were nowhere. Backup receivers nowhere.
No, it just seemed like there was nothing. It just didn't feel like there was that many opportunities in the game was the weird thing. It just felt like it was there and then it was gone. And, I mean, they had a couple of drops in the game, which didn't help.
I was going to say, Stafford's first 8 passes, there were 3 drops.
Yeah, that's a problem.
4 first downs in the first half. 0 first downs rushing for the game. I could go on and on.
Neither half were they able to gain 100 yards in total offense.
Oh.
I mean, heck, Carolina had 95 on their first touchdown drive. I don't think we need to keep going. We can't keep playing Let's Top This. Let's get to our chat with Matthew Stafford, brought to you by Henry Ford Health System, the official healthcare provider of the Detroit Lions. Stafford had 24 hours to go back over this one and kind of look at it. And I asked him when I asked the coach, just give me your thoughts coming out.
Yeah, we just didn't do enough. Couldn't get enough going on offense, obviously, to score any points and obviously want to score a bunch when you get a chance. So weren't able to do that. Didn't execute well enough, and that's what the game comes down to. But got a short week, got to move on, and got a big opponent coming up on Thursday. So they'll get our attention quick.
You're not one for excuses, but let me just throw them out there. The thumb, missing guys, how much of an impact any of those things had?
Honestly, my thumb felt pretty good. I thought it felt better than I thought it was going to, going into the game. So, when I was throwing the ball, I didn't feel much limitation, if at all. So I was happy about that. And as far as missing guys, that's the name of the game in the NFL. Everybody's got guys out. You got to step up and produce with whoever's out there. I thought the guys that had opportunities to come in and play did a decent job. We just got to, offense is about 11 guys doing it all together. Can't just have one guy make a great play here or there. It takes everybody, and we just weren't good enough.
Matthew, obviously for the fans, this one is one that hits hard. But I think sometimes what gets lost is how hard you guys work and what you put in to go into a game. And when you get these kind of results, not what you're looking for, how deflating is that?
It's disappointing. It's tough. We put a ton of work in, like you said, bunch of hours on and off the field trying to make sure that we go out there and give ourselves a chance to win on Sundays. And when it doesn't happen, it's disappointing. It's one football game. We got to, learn from it and move on, and be ready to go on Thursday.
All right, quick turnaround, which I guess is a blessing and a curse. The blessing is I'm sure you guys want to get right back out there. The curse is you'd like to have some more time to get your guys back. You've been doing this for a while. Just your thoughts on how you get yourself ready on this quick 4-day turnaround.
Yeah, it's a difficult week. Obviously every day starts earlier and ends later. You're just putting as much mental and physical preparation into it as you can. Got to try and get your body feeling good for a Thursday game, especially one that starts at 12:30. And then, as far as the mental aspect of it, you're trying to jam, 6 days into about 2.5, 3. So there's quite a bit of work to be done. I know our guys will, do their best to make sure that they're prepared as they could possibly be to go out there and play on Thursday.
Is it different for you knowing that this is a game that is kind of woven into the fabric of Detroit, knowing that it's a holiday, knowing it's the only game that's on? Is there a different feel when you come out on that field?
Yeah, I love it. I love playing on Thanksgiving. It's something that I grew up as a kid, obviously a Dallas Cowboys fan. I was watching these Thanksgiving games with a bunch of interest. Been able to be a part of this one a bunch of times, which is a blessing. I love it. Obviously it's usually one where the hometown fans show up big time and make it a tough place to play. It'll be a little bit different on this Thursday, but we understand that everybody's got to do what they got to do, and just know everybody will be tuning in and hopefully cheering for us.
They've played better of late. What jumps out about this Houston defense?
They're really talented. Both their corners are really big time players. They got a couple safeties that are really nice players as well. Every level of their defense, they've got playmakers, linebackers. And then obviously their front, J.J. Watt's been a great player in this league for a long time. He looks really good on tape, and we'll have our work cut out for us.
In addition to everything else he does, he batted down 4 passes in yesterday's game that they won. Is he a guy that as you come to the line of scrimmage, is he one that each time you say, all right, he's here? Are you always accounting for him?
Yeah, absolutely. Both in the run game, the pass game, how he rushes the passer, and his ability to make those plays in the passing game, getting his hands up. He's done it for years. Whether it's picking off screens or batting balls down, whatever it is, he's a heck of an athlete in there and does a great job. So we got to be aware of where he is.
There it is, Matthew Stafford talking about J.J. Watt, talking about the Texans as they get set to go, coming up on Thursday at 12:30. And we will have that for you, obviously, right here on Lions Radio. I assume it starts at 9:30 with the coverage with Steve and Sean and those guys. Take you right up until an hour before the game when Lomas and I kick in, and we get you ready for it. It's it'll be different this year, Mike, with no fans down there. It's one of my favorite days of the year because it reminds me of a Tiger playoff game with the electricity that you feel in the city of Detroit when you walk the streets before a Thanksgiving Day game. Won't have that. It'll still be special, but I miss that. You with us, Mike?
Thanksgiving. Yeah. I just like the way everybody shares equally. It's just a cool day to me. It always has been.
Yeah, it's you've been doing this for a long time and been to a lot of these games with this more than you care to count. I think Mike might have frozen on us there. So we'll tell you what, we'll take a break. We'll come right back with Mike's call to the game. And we will forge forward. Listen, we had a broken play here. Mike froze on us. So we're going to huddle. We're going to time out. We're going to come up with a plan. And we're going to come back and we're going to finish this show out. We're glad you're with us. It's a holiday week and, in a different time and place. What a crazy world we live in right now. All right, let's take a break. We'll come right back. We'll get the call of the game and talk some Texans. Stick with us.
Back to more Lions Review Presented by MGM Grand Detroit, the king of sportsbooks. Here's Dan Miller.
Walker out of the gun. There's the snap. He's back. Walker looks, throws deep right side. Wide open. Too easy. That's a touchdown. Curtis Samuel on the catch. 17 yards. And he's 5 yards ahead of the defender running on that one.
And like we said, they're lining him up anywhere. He was in trips. They were lined up in the bunch position. And he did nothing special, Dan. He just ran the up and out route. Nothing special. Just, again, if you're a DB and you can't get your hands on these guys, they get free releases. That's going to be the results right there.
If you're driving in your car and you're thinking, man, that sounds a little bit like the call of the game, you would be correct. That was the call of the game. It's chosen by one Michael X. O'Hara. Call of the game sponsored by Ring Central, official partner of the Detroit Lions. Ring Central, message, video, phone together. Was that just kind of your summation of the day?
Well, it sort of summed it up. That made it 14-0. You could see there that Curtis Samuel, Desmond Trufant should have gotten inside leverage on him because he had help from the safety, who was where he was supposed to be, right along the goal line. And if he gets inside, outside leverage, then he'll force him back to the middle where he'll have help. On the outside, he has no help at all. That was an easy pitch and catch for P.J. Walker and for Curtis Samuel. The reason I know what that is because Chris Spielman broke it down for us today. I'm just repeating what he said.
You sounded convincing.
Didn't it sound good?
You sounded convincing. That was terrific.
That's almost
and you can, of course, see that on DetroitLions.com. All right, Michael. We've been here before. Yeah. It's tough right now. Coach is getting a ton of questions about his job security, which based on what we got from Mrs. Ford and Sheila Ford Hamp, and now it is Sheila Ford Hamp making the call, you would not imagine he is flush with job security right now.
No, I wouldn't. No, I'm sorry, Dan. No, I wouldn't think so. And just he looked different today at his Monday presser. He really did. It just sort of had that. Do I have to go through this again today? Look and sound. Yeah. He really did. He sounded like a guy. I wouldn't say beaten because he'll fight. He really will.
Oh, he's still fighting. But these are questions, Mike, nobody wants to answer, and nowhere that you anticipated being when you started this challenge.
No, he didn't come here to lose. He really didn't. He didn't expect to lose because this is completely foreign to him. He's probably lost more games in 3 years than he did in 10 years with the Patriots, something like that. That's
pretty sure that's fair.
And it just, I think it's gotten to him a little bit. And then it's a different era now with social media. There's no way to get around it. And it's not somebody's going to see him in the barbershop in 3 days and say, hey, did you see what so-and-so wrote last week? No. 10 seconds later, you got it. And it can really get to you.
Sound bites travel now. They come right to you. I mean, you can get them on your phone, on your Twitter, on your Instagram, whatever it is. There is instant reaction now. And he knew those questions were coming, but it doesn't make them any easier.
No.
And, guys have to ask them because that's their job. But it's tough for him. It's tough for the players. But in the end, you sign up for this gig. And you know what it's all about.
And he said that also. He says we know what's at stake is what he said once. We when we sign up, we know what's at stake, and he's right. The rewards are terrific, but the burden is also terrific. And when you don't win, it gets heavier and heavier by the week.
Yeah, and they will carry that burden with them onto the field against Houston coming up. This is a tall task for a defense that is struggling. We got about 20 seconds here, Mike. Deshaun Watson is tough.
Did you see the touchdown? I think 12 or 13-yard run where he ran through the cornerback and the linebacker at the goal line. Oh my God, that ignited that team too. A big win over the Patriots for him.
I love what Coach said. He said he's so calm in the pocket, and I think that was a wonderful explanation of what he does and how he does it. Mike, great stuff. That's it for this edition. We'll see you again next week.